the chatting and the discussions that are going to take place. So really I'd just like to thank CEFTUS for organising tonight, but also for the work that you do in really promoting the Turkish community, Kurdish community in the UK, and really for raising the awareness in places like Parliament, and you do that very successfully. I suppose that I'm here representing the mediocre men in Parliament. Yeah. And Caroline saved my blushes earlier by pointing out that certainly as far as my party is concerned, the Liberal Democrats, unfortunately we wouldn't be able to provide you with a female member of Parliament to speak at the event tonight because we don't have any, although we could have provided Baroness Meroveche from the Turkish community. And I mean, there is a serious point, and I think the serious point is that where there is a will, things can be done. And in relation to our own party, in Scotland, for instance, at the Scottish conference a couple of days ago, they have agreed that all five of the top seats in Scotland will be reserved for women. I had a conversation shortly after this decision was taken with a man who I guess was probably about 10 years younger than me, and said, well, I'm giving up my parliamentary career because I can't see any circumstances in which in my sort of useful life as a possible member of Parliament that I'm going to get elected. So there are consequences, but I think sometimes these decisions have to be taken. And a similar decision has been taken in relation to England, which will be subject to ratification at our party conference, which would see, for instance, that in all the seats that we currently hold, where MPs are standing down, that there will be an all-female shortlist to replace the sitting Member of Parliament. Now, the only thing that can now get in the way of actually of having a Liberal Democrat Party that is truly representative of the gender balance issue is if we lose all our seats. So I'm not wishing that on us, but so barring those circumstances, I can't see how we cannot be much better balanced after 2020. I think what was interesting in the conversation I had earlier was the fact that the sorts of issues that we face here in the UK in relation to women are probably not that different. I was shocked to find out that, talking to my local police recently, that the number one the number one violent offence in London Borough of Sutton, in the southwest London suburbs, relatively affluent southwest London suburbs, is domestic violence. So you've got an issue in Turkey, but equally here we have an issue which I think is gaining, the issue is gaining greater recognition, but that doesn't mean that the issue has been resolved. So you are, in Turkey, it clearly is making some progress. We've heard from Caroline in relation to pay, but there is still a huge amount to do. I hope that it is possible that progress is going to be possible under Mr. Erdogan, although perhaps the evidence points slightly in the opposite direction, but certainly our role as the United Kingdom, our role within the European Union is to ensure that as far as possible we hold Turkey to account on these human rights issues, and that we do not let the fact that clearly we are very dependent on and very grateful to Turkey for the role that they are playing in terms of the refugee crisis. I do feel a degree of frustration when here we argue for the UK to take more refugees. We've been supporting in particular, as has Yvette Cooper and a number of the other political parties, the campaign to try and bring 3,000 unaccompanied children to the United Kingdom. So those are children who are already in the European Union, who the UNHCR are able to confirm don't have any family. We are arguing for that, and there is a very strong pushback, not only from the government, but also perhaps from the wider public, who don't, they'll often deploy arguments about, well, these unaccompanied children aren't actually children, are they? They're young men who are pretending to be younger than they really are. it's true that some of them are young men, but often what they're doing is they're fleeing forced conscription into Assad's army if they're coming over from Syria. Yet in Turkey is accommodating 2.4 million refugees, and if Turkey wasn't, then clearly a very substantial number of those refugees might join the exodus and cross to Greece and then literally walk to other countries in the north of Europe. So we are grateful to Turkey for the role that they're playing there, and also clearly the role that Kurdish forces are taking in relation to tackling Daesh, and which clearly, if one's worried about women's rights, then you need to be particularly worried about the impact of Daesh. So I don't want to say anything more other than to say welcome to the House of Commons and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.